Hello everyone, I hope you're well and ready for today's class, which is going to be about habits and routines in present simple. Yay! So our objectives for today are that you will be able to distinguish habits and daily activities in present simple tense. You will be able to identify the first and third person singular. You will be able to incorporate adverbs of frequency, and finally, you will be able to give information orally about your habits and daily routines. So now I want to start by telling you some of my habits and routines, okay? What I usually do in a normal day as a teacher. For example, as a teacher, I teach, okay? That's the thing that I do the most. I teach every day. Maybe when I'm too tired, I drink coffee. I eat donuts because I love donuts. I go shopping, and if I have free time, I text my friends. Okay, so those are some of my activities, what I do in my normal days. So I teach, I drink, I eat, I go, and I text. Now, you as students, tell me about your habits and routines, what you usually do. Here we have some verbs that you can use to describe your activities. For example, I don't know, maybe you play video games, maybe you read books or cook dinner, maybe you wash the dishes or you study a lot every day. Okay, I hope so. So here we have some verbs. There are a lot of verbs, but here we have just a few of them as an example. Okay, now I want to explain the simple present tense. Okay, that it is used to describe habits and facts. Don't worry about the facts, we are just describing habits here. So as you can see here, we have first person, second person, and third person. First person in singular I, in plural we. Second person in singular you, and in plural you as well. Third person singular he, she, and it, and in plural they. All of those are persons, okay, are subjects. And then after the subjects, you put the verb in present simple to create the phrase, okay, to describe your habits and routines. So first the person, then the verb. For example, I go to the cinema. We have dinner together. You run every day. As you can see, um, at the beginning of the phrase, we have the person, okay? I, we, and you. Those are subjects. And then the verb in present simple. Go, have, run. So I go, we have, you run. But as you can see in the third person singular, the he, she, and it are in different color, right? Why? Because we need to make some changes to the verb when we have the third person singular. So first the person, right? He, she, it, plus the verb, as we had already said, but in this time you will have to add an s or es to the verb. Okay, when we are talking about third person, we need to add an s or es to the verb. For example, he plays video games. Okay, first the person, right? Then the verb. But in this case, as we are talking about he, we need to add an s at the verb. So he plays video games. It's not he play, he plays. Okay, another example. She goes shopping. It is not she go shopping, because we are talking about a third person singular. So she goes shopping. There are some exceptions with some verbs. For example, here in note, I put have, and we need to use has when we are talking about the third person. Okay. So I want you to look at the picture and tell me the correct answer. Okay. What does he do? He dances a song. He practices karate. He plays a game, or he practices karate. What do you think? Those who think that the correct answer is letter D, you are close but not enough, okay? Because letter B is the correct one. Why? Because we are talking about the third person singular, he. So the verb has to be with an S at the end. So he practices karate, not he practices. Okay, so letter B is the correct one. Next one. What do? They watch a match, they play football, they walk in the street, or they play tennis. A, B, C, or D? The correct one is letter D. Okay, very good. What does she do? She do yoga, she reads a book, she does yoga, she buys shoes. A, B, C, or D? The correct one is letter C. She does yoga. Why is not letter A? Because she is a third person singular, right? And the verb has to be with an S or ES. So letter C, she does yoga. Very good. What do? They feed the horse, they pet the horse, they ride the horse, or they pet the horse. The correct one is letter B. Why? Because we don't need to add the S of the verb, okay? Because this is not a third person singular. They pet the horse, and that's it, okay? So the person plus the verb as always, and then the horse. What do? We have virtual classes, we take pictures, we watch a TV show, we play a video game. Okay, this was an easy one, right? Letter A. We have virtual class, okay? We have virtual classes every day now, right? So I want to tell you about how often we do these activities, okay? For that, we have adverbs of frequency. As you can see, here we have always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, never. And here we have some percentages. When we talk about always, it's something that we use 100% of the times, okay? When we do something usually, we're talking about 90% of the times, and so on, okay? So when you use these adverbs of frequency, you have to understand that those goes after the subject and before the verb. Remember that we said before that first the subject and then the verb. In this case, we need to add the adverb of frequency between them. So after the subject, before the verb, between the subject and the verb. Okay? So I usually play video games. And also we can use every day, every night, every morning, once a week, twice a week, at 2 p.m., at 2 o'clock, at 5 o'clock. Okay, so those phrases go at the end. Okay, for example, here I drink water every day. We continue with the rule that first the person, then the verb, and at the end, every day or every morning. So I drink water every day. Okay, we use them to explain how how often we do something. So now I will play an audio and I want you to listen carefully and read carefully those phrases, okay? And notice that she explained how often she do her activities, okay? So,
What's a typical day in your life like?
Well, I wake up at 7 a.m. I go to the bathroom, wash my face, and brush my teeth. I work out every morning. I can't do without it. Before exercising, I usually like to warm up by doing stretches. Then I take a shower, and after that, I have breakfast. Next, I write down my to-do list for the day. I always plan my day ahead.
okay. So, as you can notice, she said about how often she does their activities, her activities, right? She wakes up at 7 a.m. She goes to the bathroom, she washes her face, she brushes her teeth, right? She works out every morning. She usually likes to warm up. Remember? First the person, then the adverb, and then the verb. Okay? She takes a shower, she has breakfast, she writes down her to-do list, and she always plans her day. Again, the adverbs of frequency. And notice that I have some words here that I put in black, and those are connectors, okay? So the phrase can sound better by using these connectors. Here we have some
What's a
examples of connectors. You don't have to use them if you don't understand them. But here we have, for example, then, next, finally, first, late, okay? You can use them to make the phrase sound better, okay? But the important thing is that you learn how to create the phrase, okay? By using first person, by using the adverbs of frequency and the verb uh, after the person, okay? So the activity that you will have to do now is to talk about what you and your family do normally. So you will have to record an audio, okay? And you will have to send me that audio by email or by WhatsApp, no longer than 1 minute, okay? So you will have to describe your habits and routines or create ones, okay? I don't mind if you use your imagination as long as the phrase is well formulated. So remember to use the persons, I, you, he, we, she, etc. And remember the third person singular. And try to use adverbs of frequency and connectors. Every morning, never, always, and, or, then, etc. Again, if you don't know how to use the connectors, don't worry, but try to use the adverbs of frequency. Okay, because in this way your phrase will sound really good. We have an example here. First, I wake up early every morning. Then I go to school. My dad always goes to work. My sister never studies. Me and my mom always eat together. And my dog eats a lot every day. Okay, so by following those examples that I already mentioned and all that information that I give you, you will have to record yourself and talk about what you and your family do normally, okay? Your habits, your routines, and yes, that would be your segment. And we will see you soon in another class, okay? So have a nice weekend and goodbye.